let's do a thought experiment. Let's just take a very woke game. Let's see. I think Overwatch is a woke game. I've seen a bunch of articles about how this person is non-binary and this person a funny man and this person a funny woman and this person all kind of weird thing about it. So let's just say Overwatch is popular. People like it. People like it as woke as it is. 10 years later, let's just say that there's a cultural shift and the world becomes more conservative, more religious, more traditional. And a new group of developers come in and they say, you know what? We do not want this funny man to be in our Christian content, in our Christian game. And they decide to go back and retroactively change all the characters in Overwatch to be normal characters. And they also decided to add religion into Overwatch. So the characters are Christian and Muslim and different faiths and so on, right? And they want to now change Overwatch from being a progressive game to being a conservative or Christian game. Do you think that is fair? Do you think that it would fly? Do you think that they will be celebrated for it by the public or by gamers at large? I do not think it is right. I do not think it is fair to 10 years later you would change that woke game to be non-woke. Enter Skullgirls. This game was released back in 2012. This is over a decade ago. And it's just now some new developers come in and they want to wokeify the game along three main routes. As you can imagine, woke, so they're going to bring in sexualization and sex in some way capacity because these people are obsessed with that. They're going to bring in hate group and they're going to bring in race. That is like the trifecta of woke: hate group, sexualize, some sex-based content, and race. And nobody had any issue with this 10 years ago. If it did, it wouldn't have resonated so much with many people. Not to mention, the game is 10 years old now. I am pretty sure that it has reached all the people that it could reach. There is no sizable new audience, or rather, they call it the same thing Splinter Cell call it modern audiences, right? There's no sizable modern audience that is just looking at the game and saying, you know what? If only this game did not have characters with large breasts, I would play it. Or if only this game did not have the character didn't have red armbands that is reminiscent of Nazi Germany and so on, I would play. That is not a thing. The reason why this is annoying is what my mind went to is I made 2 videos about alternate non-woke games. If other companies take this approach, those videos can be outdated very quickly. If Capcom in 10 years decide, you know what, what's your name? El Dorado? The El Dorado dress in Monster Hunter shows too much legs and the breasts are too bucks, so we're going to censor it. Or they say, you know what, we're going to make the Admiral's grandson, I think it is, let's make him funny. They could just retroactively change those things after 10 years. And then suddenly Monster Hunter is no longer a non-war game. And this does bring up the issue of rights and ownership and digital products. Because if this was a physical game, right, it doesn't matter what they want to do. If you have the physical disc in your hand, right, they can't come into your house, take out the disc, change it and then give you a new one. That will remain as is. So I think what this calls for, in addition to being regular and anti-woke from the consumers, because companies should be non-woke, I think this calls for the need for preservation. So I know GOG has a thing where, like, when you buy games from GOG, you have the game file, like the good old days, so you can install and uninstall from that. I think we probably need to have something similar straight across the board, because it's not that it was never this bad, but even something as simple as patching I actually don't like. So if I started King of Fighters and sure me could do a particular combo and I like the game doing that combo, then later on they patch the game to make it quote unquote balanced, and that combo is no longer possible. To me, that is robbery. because I do not really care what pro players want. If anything, have two versions of the game. It's a tournament edition, and that one is patched and updated now and whatever, and you leave the legacy edition, and you only make changes to the legacy to fix bugs. So unless you're fixing bugs, you leave the game as bugs and exploit. You leave the game as is. It feels really bad. It feels really annoying for me. I guess because I'm also getting older and I'm not that involved into the like keeping up with games on a day-to-day basis. It's really annoying when I will play King of Fighters, have some fun, put it down for a couple of months, pick it back up, then all of a sudden a bunch of things different, a bunch of things don't work, or I see people doing a bunch of new things. I'm like, so now I have to sit down and go through it feels like I'm doing homework. And when life's stressing already enough and you want to just relax to play the game, I don't want to have to do homework. So I already did not like that aspect of digital games, but this takes it to a whole new level. Where if developers can now retroactively change 10-year-old games for modern audiences, and it's always one direction. But the people who support this, because the pendulum will shift, and it will shift very hard. If you think my anti-alphabet stance is hard, when the pendulum shift, people like me will be seen as progressive and tolerant when the pendulum shift. But when that happens, you're going to have the same thing occurring on the opposite end. So they're saying that when you're seeking revenge, dig two graves. Right now, the alphabet people are seeking revenge against society for the perceived ills and slights that they've been dealt. And in so doing, they do not look long term. Of course, that's not surprising, because if you look long term, you realize that if there's a mass adoption of alphabet, you're going to run into population problems. But you're right, so long term is not their forte. But if the politics change, ensure that whatever framework you support now, you can still support it when you are on the receiving end of the sword.